It has come to that time again where I keep you up to date. I don't like you getting into a situation where you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that that was happening when it comes to the world of luxury fashion. So here I am to tell you all of the luxury news you need to know, the new launches, the hot products, all in one place. Guys, if you're new here, my name is Cassie and I'm a self-diagnosed luxury addict. I put out videos on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so if you like luxury fashion, then you're probably gonna love it here. So head down there, subscribe, turn on the bell, become a member of our luxury addicted family. When are we going to rehab? Never. Starting out with luxury news. Jonathan Anderson has officially been confirmed as the new creative director of Dior Men's. Now, when this was announced, there was a bit of confusion because people were like, just men's? So not Dior with just the men's? And it seems yes at the moment. What I suspect, allegedly, nobody sue me please, I don't have the mental capacity to deal with that. Maria Grazia still has her cruise collection to show. I believe that's showing in May, and I think that the announcement will happen after that. I think that basically the rumour mill has been working overtime and we're all out here gossiping, doing whisperings around before they're contractually allowed to say anything, because she still has shows to do. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think end of May, maybe, beginning of June, we might get a little. Jonathan Anderson is also the creative director of Dior Women's. This is my suspicion. I've got my ears to the ground. Financial results came out. Kering has underperformed. LVMH also missed predictions, and One House continues to be on top. So, Kering was down 14% over the first 3 months of this year. Two brands really to talk about. Number one, Gucci was down 25%. Okay, it's not selling. They're also in this weird transitional point where it's like people know that there's a new creative director coming, Demna. Do you want to buy into what Gucci is now if it's just going to change? This Gucci wasn't really resonating anyway. Ugh, it's all up in the air. As you know, I do think that the odd piece is still worth buying. This is an excellent pair of shoes. So very happy that I got in there. They did say in their press release that the new handbag lines are being well received and that there will be an addition to the soft bit collection. So the soft bit is this sort of like slouchy little hobo style. It comes in a couple of sizes, and I'm assuming it's done pretty well if they're going to add to it. So let's see. The other brand worth noting with Kering, the one that sort of outperformed the others, is Bottega. Bottega sales are up across product categories. So people really loved what Mattia Blasi was doing, and here's where you sort of get the opposite of what's happening at Gucci, because we know that Mattia Blasi is out of Bottega, but people really loved his designs. It really hit, and people maybe are even more incentivized to buy it because this is his last collection. Then we move on to LVMH. So LVMH fashion and leather goods was down 5%. Now when it comes to the big fashion owners, conglomerates, LVMH tends to be the one that's always doing well. And what they've sort of said is that Louis Vuitton was performing above average and Dior was performing slightly below average. So also, Loro Piana had strong performance. Then we move into Hermès, who are just leaving everybody in the dust. Sales were up 7%. In the first 3 months of this year. Leather goods specifically was up 10%, and they sort of attributed that to some new bag styles that have come out, being the Médor and the Mousqueton. Fun name, slightly less fun bag. But again, across product categories, Hermès has been reporting growth. They are the ones that everybody wants to be at the moment. Another bit of creative director news, Duran Lantink has been announced as creative director of Jean-Paul Gaultier. So since 2020, Jean-Paul Gaultier has sort of like stepped down as creative director, and instead what we've been seeing are these guest couture collections. So more recently we had Simone Rocha, Olivier Rousteing did one, Heide Ackermann did one. Who else? Oh, the most recent one has been Ludovic de Saint-Saëns. That was a great show. So he has these sort of designers come in to do one guest collection for the couture, but we haven't had any announcement of a creative director for ready-to-wear. When it comes to the ready-to-wear, listen, I really like the JPG ready-to-wear at the moment, but it is sort of reissues of old stuff or tweaks of old stuff, which, to be honest, listen, I quite liked it. But this is the first permanent creative director since Paul Gaultier. And this also means that there will be a return to the ready-to-wear runways. So in September, that is when the first show will be. Now, Duran Lantink also recently was awarded the International Woolmark Prize, and he's definitely an emerging designer. So it's been quite a good announcement in that respect, that it's like taking a chance on somebody really quite new and not as well established as, you know, some of the big names. And he definitely plays into that sort of proportion, exaggerated silhouette sort of thing. Now, Paul Gaultier in his announcement basically said, "I see in him the energy, audacity and playful spirit through fashion that I had in the beginning of my own journey. The new enfant terrible of fashion. Welcome, Duran." So let's see. I'm intrigued to see what's coming. We also know that this month it was announced that Versace had been bought by Prada. I have a video that goes into much more detail on what this means, what we can expect as consumers and whatnot, so that will be linked below. But Versace will no longer be under Capri Holdings and will be a part of the Prada group. The CEO of Capri had basically sort of like alluded to some mistakes that they made with the brand in terms of pricing. Some of the pricing is going to be adjusted. So for example, a silk Versace shirt is currently around the 1,500 mark. And apparently, and I think sort of if everything goes to plan, I don't know if things will change because Prada is now buying them, but that they are going to be repriced to around the $1,000 mark. They're introducing lower price point goods to get that sort of aspirational customer back through the doors. I think it's a good move. I hope that everything works out. Now, the Victoria and Albert Museum in London are going to be closing their fashion gallery, and it will be renovated, given some love, some TLC, and be renamed the Burberry Gallery come spring 2027. This is part of a multi-year partnership between the museum and Burberry. So it's closing on the 4th of May, and apparently it will result in visitors being able to experience V&A's fashion collection in innovative and exciting ways. In hospitality meets fashion news, Aquazzura, the shoe brand, has opened a bar in Rome in the Hotel de Russie. Have any of us, well, you could probably say this with all hospitality things. I was going to say, has any of us ever gone, Aquazzura, the shoe company? I wonder what a bar from them would be like. It seems a bit random, but Aquazzura has also recently announced a sort of home collection. So it kind of falls under that. And like I said, in my predictions at the beginning of this year, we're going to be seeing more of these sort of like food, cafe, hospitality, hotel, fashion branding more than we've seen before. Moving into new and noteworthy. Miu Miu collaborates with Coco Gauff, who is also collaborating with New Balance. There are 3 collaborators in this partnership. And again, we're seeing the intersection of fashion and hospitality. Here's the intersection of fashion and sport. And also, like as a little add-on to this, Coach just announced a multi-year partnership with the WNBA. So listen, again, we're going to be seeing much more of this. So Coco is currently endorsed by New Balance, and she will be wearing high-performance tennis gear designed by Miu Miu and New Balance for her next 3 matches in Rome, Berlin and Cincinnati. They launched the pictures of this. I think it's fun. I think that she is very much a sort of young face of tennis, which makes complete sense with Miu Miu, who also have a long-term partnership on the sneakers with New Balance. So, you know, it all sort of makes sense. Now, this collection, this capsule, will also be available to shop. It will be available in select Miu Miu boutiques and online come September, the 10th of September. So you've got some time. And also on that day, Coco will be hosting a select Miu Miu event at the New York 57th Street Miu Miu store. Also this month, Jacquemus dropped very sort of quietly and with no fanfare, in my opinion, a collaboration with Timberland on a boat shoe. It's completely sold out. It was unisex. They only did it in the one sort of banana yellow colour. Everything crafted from like Timberland leather, and then you had these little Jacquemus design details. It also retailed for $250, which I thought was really quite good. And is a really good price point for a collaboration, because half the time with these designer collaborations, the prices they're up there. And they tend to collaborate with like more high streety, non-luxury or like sporty brands. So this has been interesting. And I mean, like, listen, it did well even without the fanfare, so good for them. The Row has launched home. During Milan Design Week, they invited some people to have a look at what, you know, the Row home is going to be. And they are launching with a very small selection of items, bed linens and blankets, it seems, all 100% cashmere. When have you ever thought, you know what, I'm one of those sleepers that's like, initially getting into bed in 100% cashmere sheets sounds absolutely glorious. But oh my gosh, halfway through the night, I'm going to be kicking that off left, right and centre. I'm going to be a sweaty mess, just saying. That doesn't sound like a good idea for me. Slash an excuse that I don't have to buy it. I wasn't going to anyway, but I'm just like even more reason to rule myself out. And again, like very minimal branding, just like a tiny little The Row, you know, stamp, logo, whatever, embroidery in the corner. The colours, obviously, are very muted. There's an ivory, a black and a mink. In an interesting turn of events, Kendrick Lamar has been named the one of the newest Chanel brand ambassadors and is fronting the eyewear campaign. This is interesting, why? Because Chanel doesn't do menswear, okay? Chanel's offering of menswear is that they sort of have an odd little selection of men's shoes sometimes, depending on what store you're in, and it's never advertised. So this now gets me thinking, with Mathieu Blazy coming into Chanel, do we think that there is going to be an expansion of Chanel into menswear, or at the very least some sort of unisex offering of sorts? So obviously he's fronting eyewear because there isn't a men's offering at the moment, so I'm intrigued. Also because, what's his name? Oh my gosh, he's tall and really attractive. Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi has also been seen out and about with the odd Chanel bag, as has Timothée Chalamet, actually, so here we go. I feel like it's beginning. Let's keep our eyes open. Balenciaga have collaborated with Scholl. Yes, Scholl, the orthopedic shoe brand. It's out now, in case you're interested. They've got a few sort of classic Scholl designs that have been Balenciaga'd. They've got a cork mule. They also have a sort of cork slide, and a couple of other designed items that at the very least we know they're comfortable because Scholl's involved, so had to let you know. Oh, and they've also got that like cloggy mule, you know the one. Also, in terms of collaborations, Louis Vuitton Takashi Murakami drop 3. This is the Cherries. I know that the Cherries has a big fan base. A very interesting selection of items compared to the last 2 drops. Obviously, you've got things like the Nano Speedy. You also have a Nano Alma that's very cute that just has 2 big cherries. And then you have a selection of like really high-end pieces that are embellished with cherries. They have cherry charms, like the Louis Vuitton Capucine bag. They've done a few different interpretations of that, all the way into bag charms, little accessories. They even have a little like PVC bag charmy pouch situation. So I like how each drop it's not been the same variety of items redone. It's like they're a little bit different every time. You can also get a bike. You can get a bike, you can get a plate, you can get a teapot in this one. So there we go. In terms of, okay Cassie, shut your mouth, when can I actually buy it? Pre-orders are starting now, depending on your history at Louis Vuitton, but the global launch is on the 22nd of May. So reach out to your SAs, get your ducks in a row, get ready, right? Because we know these things. It's tough. Then we move into top products. Jonathan Anderson's, Loewe's, Paula's Ibiza have released the tomato. What do I mean by this? Last year, somebody tweeted or something and was like, this tomato is so Loewe, I can't explain it. And it was just like a really nice looking, juicy heirloom tomato, okay? Now, the funny thing is that Jonathan Anderson basically shared a picture of this little Minaudière bag that was an heirloom tomato done by Loewe. And that shows you the alignment of the brand so very well. But also, they had already been producing that. It wasn't like that the tweet had triggered this. It was that was already in production to be made. And it has now officially come out. This is not a cheap item, but I also really appreciate the fact that they show us what goes into making this. They've done a whole making of video on their Instagram. It's great. It looks very well made. It's Loewe. I would expect no less. It's very cheeky. It's novelty. It's very much the brand. If that is your vibe, this is a really, really great piece that's also like a collectible, really. Goyard have launched their new limited edition, I think this is their spring drop, which drop isn't even the correct, you know what I mean. So they are doing the St. Louis tote in an iris, which is like a baby blue, and in a fuchsia. And then on the reverse, you have this sort of floral, what are they calling it? The Jardin Goyard. The Goyard garden. So you've got all these floral foliagey moments happening there. If you're interested, as with all Goyard things, good luck to you, and contact your SA and I bid you good luck. The Saint Laurent, what is this? The small Y bag. So the Y tote came out. It's a very muted design. Is this design that I'm going to tell you my favorite? No, but I also think that we're going to be seeing it around, which is why I'm putting it on your radar. So this is a smaller sort of bucket bag-y interpretation of it. It's actually a reissued design from back in the day. They're doing it brown with white canvas and I believe an all black monochrome version. But this is a small little handheld, run around, live your best life moment. There you go. Let me know your thoughts on this month's news. I'm going to leave a link to another video over here in case you haven't already seen it. Have an amazing morning, afternoon or evening wherever you are. And in the words of my father,
if you've enjoyed it, tell your friends. If you haven't, keep your mouth shut.
I'll see you in my next video. Mwah. Bye guys.